Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL. It's Wednesday night. It's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table. Lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Literally a guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Right, I think we're all good. Apologies about that. That was my CPU. Apologies about the adverts and everything going awry. But we are here. It is PSGL. It is season 35. It is round 10 of the championship, the penultimate round as well. As we take in, as you can tell by my cushion and my flags in the background, the British Grand Prix from the Silverstone International Circuit. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking you through the stream as your lead commentator for this evening. Jess, unfortunately unavailable. She's, I think, travelling up north somewhere. Don't know where, but she's travelling up north. I'm sure she's going to be tuning into the stream. But joining me in the commentary box, filling in for me last week, so it is a bit of a full circle moment here. It is Mr. Byron Hale. Byron, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad actually. Arguably a bit tired. It's been a bit of a busy week and a busy time for PSGL, but here we are. It's going to be a very good race as always. Championship obviously still up for grabs. It's kind of anyone's game, so it's going to be interesting. Really looking forward to it.
It is going to be very interesting indeed. But before, of course, we get into everything in terms of the drivers' standings and everything, you might have seen on social media, you might have seen on Discord as well, that we've got a brand new partnership to welcome as well. Along with our existing partnership with GT Omega, we have now got a partnership with Sim Racing Centre as well. Sim Racing Centre, of course, not only home to Brendan Lee, providing opportunity for a lot of tutoring in terms of engineering. They've got direct advice from two-time F1 Esports champion Brendan Lee. They are the provider, of course, for all things F1 23, ran by the community as well. I can't remember, it's Yorit who does all of that work, who leads actually the Sim Racing Centre. He was part of the community a couple of years ago, I think, so he's actually taking on that. Whether you need to book a setup, an expert engineering or strategy advice, or one-to-one coaching with some of the amazing team, you can do that through Sim Racing Centre as well. And you can use code PSGL at checkout for 10% off your first purchase as well, whatever that may be. And Byron, you were the instigator. You were the man behind this deal. So we're going to come across to you for more on the Sim Racing Centre, because I honestly think it is a brand new sponsor for F1 23. It's run by the community, provides not only exposure for PSGL, but exposure as well for the Sim Racing Centre.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very long time kind of trying to sort everything out. But I think as a organization, it was kind of an obvious step for us. You know, we were looking at kind of what avenues do we look at for possible expansions. And that was very much, you know, the avenue we thought, okay, we'll go with a company that's relevant and works in a similar sort of space. And, well, Sim Racing Centre really fit that remit for what we wanted. You know, we want someone who works in that similar space, and they very much offered it to us.
Yeah, which is always really good, I've got to say as well. And hopefully Sim Racing Centre can progress forward, of course, as I say. Direct advice from two-time F1 Esports champion Brendan Lee. He's in the F1 23 game. If you don't want anything else more to do with him, then probably getting some direct advice from him is the best way to go, especially if you are one of those drivers like me who struggles out on track and maybe just needs a little bit of guidance here and there. But that is Sim Racing Centre. We are going to be looking at their advert a little bit soon as well. But let's have a look at the driver's standings from last week as well. And Byron, you were here as well last week in Miami, in the Sunshine State. Aurelian taking the race win. I correctly actually predicted him in the comment section as well last week. So Aurelian took the win by 0.03 of a second in the end. Cameron Dowd ending up second, very unluckily second in the drag race to the line, and then OP Tim getting his best result of the season, finishing in third. And Aurelian can wrap up the championship tonight, 70 points to his name. Markador's on 56, Cameron Dowd's on 55. Might seem unlikely on that, but Aurelian, as long as he outscores Markador's by 4 points and Cameron Dowd's, Urpek and Bolo Kongan, who are still in contention, don't pick up any points, Aurelian will be champion tonight.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what sort of things happen tonight. Obviously, last week was a pretty interesting one for some drivers, not so much for others. Marcadors took quite a big gamble, really didn't work out for them. Aurelian really was good from start to finish. There was no questioning the pace of Aurelian there in the last race. And there's going to be some drivers a little bit disappointed. I think certainly Urpak, right? Still technically in the chance of the championship, but a DNF last race has really hampered any chances of a championship fight. I mean, especially a DNF so late in the season, when you're kind of towards the top, it really hurts your chances. So certainly Urpak going to be looking to try and get some numbers in potentially today, but looking a little more unlikely for them.
Yeah, definitely looking a little bit unlikely for them indeed, but anything can happen. Nuth already had a championship contention in F2. If you don't want me to ruin that any further, Nuth is retired out of that race. But we have got action out on track. It is very overcast, actually, here at Silverstone this evening. Jorrit Jan van Geffen, by the way, in the chat. Mr. Jorrit himself has gifted 5 PSGL memberships as well. GC Omega memberships, that is, as well. And that is Echo 3x3, EC8 Evil, Pascal Goydendorp, Arham Hashmi, and Annie. So well done to all 5 of you. You've got the first ever, I think, memberships, I think, that is actually on this channel. So congratulations. No? No?
No. We had... Sorry. You just went quiet. I was like, what's going on? No, we had our first round of gifted subs from Jorrit actually in PCF1. We've had plenty though now. A load of you joining us as you do get some awesome little emotes you can use on our streams, and also just generally it supports us as an organisation. So thank you very much, Jorrit, obviously, a Sim Racing Centre, who does sponsor us. So clearly trying to get in our good books by giving us a little bit there. I just realised I'm using the game chat, so some poor guy has been hearing me for about 10 minutes rabbit on about F1. Poor guy he must be. I'm not sure we have cut over to the action now, and we are here at the Silverstone circuit, one of my favourite circuits. I mean, some of the corners around here, you really have to throw the car into. I'm thinking about your likes of Stone, Maggot and Beck, the corners. They're so difficult to really keep the car and hold it through. But if anyone can do it, these drivers most certainly can. And I'm looking forward to all of the action. We're getting underway. The first lap's obviously getting underway now. And I'm not really sure who to put my money on for pole, because it really could be anyone.
It really could be anyone. Mubarak, I think, is going to set the timing screens alight, though. Comes to the line, 24.7, his first lap there on the board. I think Gilles is coming across the line as well very shortly indeed. The Ferrari, the former PSGL champion back in season 26, goes second, 25 flat to his name. Ryan with a good lap there as well with a 25.2. Tim as well coming through the middle sector. Cameron Dowd's now going quickest, 24.7 flat. So good lap time there by Cameron Dowd, of course, second last week, and has some very, very good form coming into tonight as well. So he's definitely one to watch out for. As could this man here as well in F7R. Your own apologies, by the way. If it is just lagging slightly in terms of audio, that is my laptop. My pretty old laptop still running as it can. But it's Cameron Dowd at top, Mubarak in second, Yossi there at third. Your own now coming through the final couple of corners. He's got strong form around this track. The Red Bull, I don't think is going to feature up toward the top end of the field. Goes 9th in the end, 25 flat ahead of Markadors, one of the championship contenders early on. The 9-time British karting champion as well, Kazizel, out on track as well. I think he's returning this week, if I'm not mistaken. There, down in 16th position. First lap times though on the board. Cameron Dowd down on top, Mubarak second, Yossi there in third, Urpek there in fourth. Interesting with one luck tomorrow night as well in the other league, which I'm not going to mention, as Kazizel is all out of shape coming through Maggots and Beckett, and he just about recovers that car. 102.1, but that was Code Brown for the McLaren.
Yeah, Code Brown for a couple drivers though. I'm noticing what's happened to Aurelian? All the way down in 17th. You're in the chance of a championship win, and 17th place is the best you can muster on that initial opening lap. That's really not what Aurelian would be looking for. I mean, it's very difficult on these first runs to get that pace out of the blocks, especially for some drivers. Some drivers struggle with it a lot more than others. Can you get out the pit lane and get going straight away? Well, some drivers manage it brilliantly, others a little bit more of a struggle. And Aurelian maybe building up to a little bit more, or maybe just making a mistake. Aurelian not necessarily known for mistakes, but, you know, anything can happen with these drivers, especially when the pressure is on. And if you are Aurelian, the pressure is certainly on tonight.
Definitely on tonight, and especially Downing's in 17th. Francesco there not getting a lap time on the board either, down in 19th. So Aurelian is in deep trouble earlier on, and this is a track where you do not want to be starting toward the back end of the field, because you will get caught up in all the melee on lap 1, and all of that will come back to bite you, I'm afraid, around a track like this here at Silverstone. Jess, by the way, mentioned in the chat that she's watching live from her hotel TV, so welcome to everyone that is tuning in from her hotel right now. I'm sure there's going to be about 100 of you now tuning in to the stream. It is coming down on top from Mubarak there in second, Yossi there in third, Jizu Tom there, the Brit as well there in fourth position. So very, very good lap times being set on the boards. Mubarak, of course, returning after what can only be described as a few health issues recently as well. Mubarak there returning here this week. I believe he was full-time Ferrari at the start of the season, then backed off just before Christmas. Now he's back, obviously, here in Britain. 24.721. It's almost as if the guy has not been away, because health issues is one thing, but putting a lap time like that and being alongside Cameron Dowd and a 10th and a half clear Yossi in second takes some doing. Fantastic lap from Mubarak so far.
Yeah, I think a lot of these drivers are getting that pace out of the blocks. I mean, to come back from a long hiatus and be immediately on the pace is definitely the accomplishment. I certainly couldn't. I mean, I tried when I decided, hey, I'll give that commentary cup a go. And decided, hey, I'll try and be good at the game. And it didn't work for me. It really didn't work. So, you know, the fact that these drivers can take such a extended break and come back and just immediately go all guns blazing is very incredible. And I very much envy them. But, you know, they're the professionals for a reason, and we leave it to them.
Yeah, and I would have finished second around here, by the way, as you're on the PSGL Commentators Cup. I would have finished second around here if it wasn't for a mistimed disconnect. Thank you, Max Ring, for that. I'm just going to throw your name out there because you were leading the race at the time of my departure. In the end, I think I finished fourth with my AI in that race, but it wasn't a true experience whatsoever. Could have been second, and I definitely could have blagged, certainly on this live stream, that I would have picked up a podium around Silverstone. Makes one of us, at least. But Cameron Dowd's out on top, Mubarak in second, Yossi there in third. I think OP Ryan is the first man out on track. He is going to be featuring as part of the other league tomorrow night as well, which restarts tomorrow in Monaco. Ryan, though, in 16th position for now. 25.2 to his name. Bit off the pace compared to Keke, Marcador, Giron. But if you can find an improvement anywhere in the lap, it'll probably be through the middle sector, because that middle sector, you need so much downforce coming through there. And Ryan usually has a lot of downforce on his setup. So Ryan there in 16th, don't think he'll be there, honestly, for long.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Ryan is a proven quantity, known for being very, very fast. But, you know, there is a compromise to be made, especially on a track like this, although having more downforce on your car does mean you can go faster through the corners. You're only going to really get that benefit if you're still being able to go fast enough down the straights, and that's really the trade-off you have to make. That's why we see solo wings at tracks like Monza, because it's not worth putting any rear wing on, because there's so long straights. You need as much straight line performance as you can get, and that's why at Monaco we have really, really high rear wings, because we need to get as much downforce out of it. So this is really interesting. The battle, and setup changes that these drivers will make as well will certainly be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and Ryan actually is down in the first sector compared to Mubarak. Mubarak, I think, was a 27 flat in the first sector. Ryan 27.1, so he's about a 10th off nearly on Mubarak already through that first sector. So carrying all of that, running down now in towards Cops Corner, one of my favourite corners on the track. You can take this flat out now on this game on F123, coming through the right-hander there of the old turn 1, and now in toward the old turns 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 at Maggott and Beckett's, now coming through one of the most fearsome part of the tracks. Of course, we saw Daniel Kvyat have a puncture coming through there in 2020 in the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, but a 1 or 2 flat from the middle sector from Ryan, not looking too bad at all. The Aston Martin, the German, now comes down the hill and towards Stowe at turn 15. We'll be looking to try and get a good lap time on the board. Filler his boots with a lot of confidence as well, as he now comes through in toward the final corners of the Vale chicane and then in towards Club Corner at turn 18. Bit oversteering that coming out of 17, but now through Club on the run to the line, and Ryan there only manages 14th, but at least it's an improvement from him.
Yeah, it's an improvement, but I think probably would have been wanting a little bit more. You know, he's not far off his teammate Markados, who obviously, you know, he's up there in terms of the championship fight. But noticing a lot of the big contenders are further down. But Erpek, you know, I said about how he was out of the hunt, you know, possibly out of the hunt because he had a DNF last race. And there he goes, top of the timing screens with the 124.697, first driver to get into the 124.6s, only just, but still taking it to the top of the times. But I'm noticing a lot of the top contenders that we were really, you know, in the fight, you know, like Aurelian, like Ryan, and obviously Markados, who's now gone up to 5th, you know, they were very far down. So it's very interesting to see the drivers you expect to be up there, not quite being quite as up there as everyone might think.
Mubarak Low looking very good again. The Swissman now coming through the final corner on the run to the line, goes quickest ahead of Erpek. Erpek, of course, took the race win, I think, around here in F2 last season, so he's got good form from, of course, NLR days back then. Now F7R, of course, Erpek. He's there in second. And so for Williams 1-2, where have we seen that one before? I think the last time we saw that in real life, Williams 1-2, was Austria 2014, Felipe Massa and his teammate, which is unbelievable. Mubarak out on top, Erpek there in second, Cameron Dowd's there in third. Cameron Dowd, interestingly, actually, I don't think we saw him out on track for his second run. So interestingly, he's keeping a set of soft compound of tyres, potentially viable for the final stint, possibly for the final run. He's there in third position. If he keeps that set of soft compound of tyres, there is every chance, Byron, that Cameron Dowd could probably go hards, softs, and then pit in from around lap 14, lap 15.
Absolutely. I mean, the strategies that you'll see around here will be quite varied. You've got to think about the tyre compounds here. You know, we do get a very interesting variation of tyre compounds. It seems to change about every year we come, but on this game, all 3 compounds are particularly good. You know, and they all get you a lot of pace. We saw a lot of variation in strategy when PCF1 came here, you know, just not that long ago. And when they did, you know, there was so much variation in the strategies. And I think maybe these drivers have been taking a few little notes that they'll possibly be thinking about, you know, in terms of their strategy tonight.
Yeah, Jensen's certainly happy that Cameron Dowd, by the way, is in third position right now. The former PSGL, PSF1 racer, as he now is these days, former WR champion as well back in the day. That is the only time I'm mentioning that league on this channel. But Mubarak's out on top. It's Erpek in second. Cameron Dowd's there in third. 4.5 minutes to go here in PSGL, PSF1. Let me know in the comment section who you think is going to get pole position, because honestly, I would have went for Markados, and he's nowhere near pole position right now. He's there in 6th position right now. Aureli in 5th, Volakongan there in 4th. Gonna be interesting to see how everyone gets on out on track. But for me, looking at this, Cameron Dowd's a potential favourite. I think Markados is a potential favourite for pole position. Currently 3rd and 6th, a little bit behind the cosh is what I would have expected them to anyways.
Yeah, there's a few drivers who are going to be quite disappointed with where they're looking at now. I think, you know, certainly your likes of Ryder Hall, Ryan, you know, Stefano, he's typically been quite up there. Tom, I raced against him in the past, and he's lower than where I would have expected him to be. Obviously, Aurelian has made leaps and bounds up towards the top now, but these it's very interesting to see how some drivers aren't having the best of times at the minute, but certainly will be interesting to see how it pans out, because we are getting to those crucial final few laps. So these drivers are really going to go as fast and as quickly as they can around this final lap, because there's no point leaving time on the table. They're going to be extracting as much as they can now.
Kean Gordondorp, by the way, in the chat, has followed his father's footsteps, actually, in getting the GT Omega membership. I think he might have been one of the lucky 5 that got it on PCF1 a little bit earlier on in the week. Last week, that was, of course, on Wednesday, and Pascal got one tonight. So the Gordon Dult family are going to be celebrating even if Kian doesn't get a result in PCF2 on Thursday this week. Of course, Canada, the races to come. Canada is at that track as well, so if you do want to catch PCF1, PCF2, and everything like that on PC, PCF1 certainly on Wednesday, and that is George Morgan and Dan Field taking through the action, and then on Thursday it is PCF2 all the way through to PCF5 getting covered on live streams as well, and they are at 7 PM and 8 PM UK time as well. I hope you all heard that. If you didn't, I apologise. I'm not sure what's going on with my CPU. I might just have to close Discord down there slightly, which I think might be the issue. Mubarak out on top, Mopek in second, Cameron Dowd still in third. Volokongan, one of the first out on track right now. Shizuman in fourth position at 124.742, looking to try and improve, and there's only, Byron? Mubarak to, I'm looking at Kazizel and Bridadal. Top 16 are covered by 0.3 of a second. It's going to be very tight, even with minimal improvements.
Yeah, I mean, the smallest of improvements can always net you many positions. The field is always very, very close, no matter what tier it is. And certainly the gap here ever closer. I mean, top 16 by 0.3 of a second. Where else do you find gaps that close? Certainly not anywhere else, not any other league that you could possibly think of, or, especially at the top, the very, very top, or the very, very bottom. Marketers there confirming our lobby restart with an illegal blocking penalty. So, yeah. But we're getting through the final laps now. I'm looking at Volokongan, who's taking us around. Obviously, currently in fourth place here, looking for an improvement. And if anyone is going to do it, Volokongan, very good in qualifying. His race pace has been a bit more up and down across the season, but certainly a driver known for qualifying and his improvement within the first sector of the lap. And if we come around and now into sector number 2, we go up past the old pit building. Yes, that was used, I believe, up until about, I can't remember when, I think it was 2013 or 2014 was the last time that was used. And now we go through Stoke Corner, obviously taken flat out. It wasn't quite able to be taken flat out last year's game, but the downforce on these cars is just that much faster through Maggots and Beckett's as we come through sector number 2 into sector number 3. This DRS straight provides a brilliant overtaking opportunity in the race, nearly a 10th up for Volokongan, and that is exactly the music to his ears. Now coming through the final sector and in through the final corners, and a little rear end slide, but will that lose the time? Will that lose the pace? Will that lose the chance at provisional pole position for Volokongan round the final bend up to the line? Will it? No, It won't. It's a 124.637. What a lap by 400.
And Opec goes even quicker, 24.616. Mubarak is looking good through the first sector. Cameron Dowd as well through the middle sector. Aurelian, the championship leader, in 5th position right now, coming through Maggots and Beckett. There goes Yaron into second. I did warn you about Yaron. 101.5 now from Aurelian in the middle sector. He responds, but not responding enough. Unless he finds time through this final sector, Aurelian will not be starting no lower, I think, than 4th at this stage. Runs wide there. Coming through Stowe as well. Now in toward the final couple of corners with the F7R man, the former Shazoo man. Now coming through the final corner of Aurelian, the 2-time F1 Esports Challengers man, to the line. Goes quickest. How did he find that time? Through the final sector. Brilliant lap time from him. Mubarak is up down in the middle sector. Cameron Dowd, however, is up by a 10th. So Cameron Dowd's now on the run to line. Can the Scotsman prevail? No, he can't. He goes 4th. Mubarak there as well. 10th down, as I mentioned. Markadors as well. He's on the run to line, but he's invalidated as the Aston Martin. He's down there in 10th position and will remain there for the remainder of the session. Mubarak has ran wide, completely taking track limits to a new dimension. Coming through the final corner there from Mubarak. F7R Stefano as well on a lap, but he is backed off. That is the end for a frantic qualifying session. And it's an F7R 1-2-3. Might see that tomorrow night as well. Aurelian out on top. Erpek there in second. Yaron there in third. 0.03 of a second covering the top 3. Brilliant lap time. And Aurelian, championship leader, on pole. That's exactly what he needed.
Yeah, Aurelian really, I'm not sure where that lap came from. It just out of nowhere. No one was, I certainly wasn't expecting them to just pull a time out of the hat and a time for pole. I was expecting, maybe a good improvement, get up towards, the top of the top 10 maybe, but Pole just seemed a bit out of touch, and fair play, because that is a very, very difficult and very, very good lap from Aurelian, given the circumstances, and a very good 1, 2, 3 for F7R. So certainly going to be a few happy faces, but, it doesn't matter the result of qualifying, because ultimately, that team, they're going to be looking towards that race.
Yeah, definitely so. I did say, by the way, a 1, 2, 3 for F7R tomorrow. There's only 2 of them going to be racing tomorrow. But it's a running out on top regardless. Opek in second, your own there in third. 400ths of a second, actually, covering the top 4 with Cameron Dowds including that as well. Volokongan there in 5th. Ever the consistent, Mr. Consistent, as I call him, there in 5th. Mubarak in 6th. Wiener there in 7th, Tim there in 8th. They were chomping at the bit as well. Tim fresh from his podium, of course, last week. Kazizel there in 9th, and then Francesco ran off the top 10. We will have an illegal block, a restart because of illegal blocking penalties. Marcos and Stefano picking them up there, 11th and 13th, separated by Stefano. That's going to be interesting for us in the commentary box. Yossi there in 14th, Giel in 15th, Tom in 16th, then Ryan in 17th, Rydal 18th, and then Keki there rounded off the 19 drivers that we've got here tonight. But Aurelian out on top. Erpek alongside him on the front row of the grid. We are going to be back with you, I am sure, in a couple of minutes' time. But we are going to take a word from our sponsors, GT Omega, and indeed the Sim Racing Centre. We'll be back with you on the other side of the break. Oh, goodness me. As you can tell, Byron is definitely laughing on there, man. But there we are. We are all fine. Apologies again about the lag. It is my little old laptop running absolutely astray. But we are back live here for PSGL PSF1. It is season 35, round 10. You will be seeing the Silverstone Grand Prix very, very shortly indeed. You'll be seeing our faces, though, for now. Myself, James Head, and Byron Hale in the commentary box alongside me. And Byron, very interesting qualifying session there. Aurelian there out on top. He, of course, is on top in terms of the standings. We'll run through them for everyone, for the benefit of everyone in just a second. Opek in second, though. Jeroen in third. Fantastic lap times by all 3 of them. And in the end, 400ths of a second covering the top 4. That's exactly what the doctor ordered coming into Silverstone.
Yeah, I mean, lap times really very, very close. I mean, Aurelian, what setup are you using and where can I get it? Especially that setup right at the end, because that lap time, to go from really looking out of place, really looking like it really looked like they were struggling, and all of a sudden up to the top of the timing street, and you're looking at very confused because we didn't put Aurelian as a bet for pole because they were so far down. It was looking really unlikely to happen, but out of nowhere, it happened.
Yeah, and I think the Nepenthes meme was going to be coming out at one point because he was 16th. He was 16th at the start of that qualifying session after his first run. And then all of a sudden he just pops out of nowhere and sets the quickest lap time. So fantastic start from Jeroen in his perspective. Mubarak saying as well in the Discord, apparently he's the biggest choker of all time. He must have been on a very good lap then before he made that mistake coming through the final couple of corners. So Mubarak potentially could have been up there as well. But for the benefit, though, of everyone, let's have a rundown of the drivers' standings once again coming into tonight, and then you don't have to see me with a halo on top of me. Aurelian out on top for Marketers in second in terms of the championship. Cameron Dowd's there in third. 15 points covering the top three. In terms of the championship permutations, Aurelian, 70 points to his name. Marketers on 56. Aurelian's already done an outscored, actually, in terms of points. The point score from last season when it was Joe Van Bussel that won the championship, and they were on 66 points. Aurelian has already mastered that. 70 points for his name. Marketers second, Cameron Dowds in third. Now, by my calculation, and I didn't pass GCSE maths, so Byron might have to help me on this. Aurelian out on top. 17 points, of course, for next week, so in Bahrain for next week. That is including the fastest lap point. So Aurelian needs to outscore Marketers by 4 points. 4 points, that is, for him to wrap up the championship, and hope that Cameron Dowd, Erpek and Bolakongan don't really feature in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's exactly what Aurelian's going to be looking to do. I mean, being on pole position certainly helps matters. You know, we weren't thinking it was going to happen, you know, but it happened. And, you know, we thought, okay, this championship could be really alive. And then Aurelian went for pole position and went, yeah, I'm just going to sit here for a little bit and make you think about what's going to happen in this race. And certainly I am wondering what's going to happen in this race. I think more so now because there's an element of unpredictability. If Aurelian has a bad race, we're looking at what could be a really blockbuster finale. But, you know, it's very much reliant on, can the others get past Aurelian? Can they outscore him? Because they need to do that if they want any chance of, you know, keeping that fight until the last round.
Everyone, by the way, saying in the Discord, I've just asked them what the weather is for the race. It's going to be dry. As you can see, well, as you can't see on your screen, it is cloudy, so it is going to be sunshine, a bit of overcast, but it is going to be a dry race overall. So unfortunately, no rain at Silverstone. We've had enough of that, I think, over the last couple of days with Storm Isha, and now tomorrow with Storm Jocelyn coming into the UK as well, especially up here in the north. Byron, unfortunately, well, fortunately for him, doesn't have to bear what we've gone through in the last 24 hours. That is for sure. But let's have a look as well at the constructor standings coming into tonight, because constructors don't really, I don't think, can be wrapped up. But AlphaTauri out on top, 114 points to their name. Red Bull in second on 93. Williams and Mercedes third and fourth on 68. Then McLaren in fifth on 67. Aston Martin sixth on 64. Then Alfa Romeo with a bit of a jump down in seventh on 41. Ferrari eighth on 38. Alpine 9th on 10, and then Haas in 10th on 9 points as well. AlphaTauri, though, out on top in terms of the constructors. Red Bull alongside them. AlphaTauri, I think, soon to be named the Cash App Racing Bulls, I think, in what has been rumoured in real life. Red Bull second. I think Helmut Marko will be very happy right now with how these guys are getting on.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking in real life F1, you're going to be pretty happy, but you know, we're talking about the virtual world. Anything can happen, and the margins are always much finer and much closer. And yeah, we're getting towards a pretty exciting, a very exciting end to this championship. It's been a very long season. I mean, it's been my first official proper season with PSGL. You know, kind of hovered a little bit over the years, watched a few bits here and there, but here I am, front and center, doing what I do best, i.e. talking on a microphone for about an hour and a half. That is genuinely probably what I do best in life, really. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this race. Anything can happen.
Anything can, and probably will happen. Once Murray Walker once said, anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does. And it probably will happen, of course, here at Silverstone, where we've got 5.8 kilometres in length and 26 laps, isn't it? Out on track, or 20... Yeah, am I second guessing?
It's 26.
26.
It's
no,
26.
I am second guessing myself. It was 26 laps. You can tell we've got a track map that I haven't shown, and you can tell I'm not with it, even though I know this track like the back of my hand.
Yeah, it's a fun track though. We love this track. It's my favorite track on the entire game, and I'm eager for these lights to go out, because I do wonder what Aurelian can do off the line. Really, took a bit of a surprise to us, I think, in qualifying. Didn't expect to be on pole. I think that wasn't our prediction. But here we are, nearly there.
We are nearly there indeed. I'm waiting on tender hooks as well to see what is going to happen out on track in terms of turn 1 down in towards turn 3. That is the crucial corners of the Grand Prix. Martin Brundle said it was turn 9 back in 2021, where of course we had that Verstappen and Hamilton incident, but there is no reference of any misdemeanor out on track between them both here. Hopefully everyone behaves themselves. Hopefully we'll be in for a very good race as well. Normally we get a ready up time from Ryan in the chat saying that the guys can ready up. So I'm just waiting on that to be given. If not, he's probably already given it privately, and these guys will be readying up very soon indeed. NLR Tom, though, in the chat saying Urpeg, of course, he's part of the NLR team. Urpeg formerly part of the NLR team, so good support there for the former NLR man of Urpeg, who, of course, has qualified well up there in terms of the field. In fact, qualified second behind Aurelian. Jerome there in third. Cameron Dowd's possibly the one to watch out for as well in fourth. But we should be getting going very soon indeed here at Silverstone.
I mean, this track, obviously, so historic. I mean, we've raced here for so long. Oh, hello. It's time for the 5 red lights. 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go here in Silverstone. It looks like it's been a good start for Aurelian. Urpec very close alongside them into turn number 1. They now go, but look at the start from Jerome there up to second place. It's a Red Bull 1-2 as things stand. That's going to have smiles on loads of people's faces for F7R as the drivers battle now through sector number 1. Cameron Dow's there getting up into third place. Bolo Kongan there fighting as well as Wiener there gets up into fourth place there. Fought outplayed the first lap, playing out very, very nicely, except for Urpec, all the way down to 7th, and colliding with his teammate there as he goes through towards the end and the start of sector number 2, tries to go around the outside on the soft tyres, by the way, Urpec, and really not getting any pace out of them whatsoever at the start of this race, already down 5 places on this opening lap. The entire top 5 unstopped. What have you seen?
Tim tries to go around the outside of his own teammate. It's all hell for leather in behind. Geel now trying to go up the inside of OP Tim, who was on the podium, of course, last week. Absolutely chaotic start. Everyone is clean through, though. I think there's no damage in behind either. Geel now on the back of Tim, running down the straight in towards Stowe we go, and he might be on the inside line here, Tim, and he holds the position for now on the Frenchman, but the Frenchman gets a good switchback. Kazizel is in strife. I think he might have damage potentially on that one. He does. He's the only one that's got damage as well at the end of lap 1, but it's already in that lead. Jerome in second, Cameron Dowd in third, and Kazizel is absolutely sick to death, I am sure, of what has happened there on that one. He's already retired, and that, unfortunately, is him out of the race, and unfortunately for him, will be playing no further part in this race. Already no leading. Jerome in second, Cameron Dowd in third. Everyone in the top 6 on a set of soft compound tyres. Mubarak, you've got to feel sorry for him. He's on a set of hard compound tyres right now in 7th, and acting almost as if he's the fastest rolling low block going right now in Buckinghamshire.
Yeah, absolutely. These drivers are really blistering around the track already. I'm noticing the slander in chat here of someone mimicking my oh hello, as I was a little bit shocked when the lights came out. It gave me a different camera angle as well, so I was very confused because it gave me an onboard shot.
Wiener!
Like, well, this isn't normal.
Wiener and Cameron Dowds are side by side. Sorry to cut you off. To the inside line, Wiener forces Cameron Dowds off track. Cameron Dowds runs out wide. He might be still side by side going into Maggots and Beckett's, but he's not. Wiener there in third. Cameron Dowds in fourth. You've got to be on it. Quite literally. We've got to be on it in the commentary box because there's so much action that goes on up and down the field. You have got to be completely and utterly on the ball, as Cameron Dowds now is on the ball, on the back of Wiener, looking towards the right-hander now of turn number 15 at Stowe, not getting the job done and not on the ball, unlike Anton Deck in 2002 at the French World Cup. Aurelian out on top, Jeroen in second, Wiener there in third. Position gains, by the way, at the end of lap 2. Wiener's gained 4. 4 positions gained for him. Geel gaining 6. Most positions lost, of course, because Kazizel out of the race. But Urpec has lost 4 as well. He got bullied coming through turns 1 and 2. Coming through Abbey and Farm. Cameron Dowd's now looking to the inside line. On the inside of Wiener he goes. The Austrian there on the outside line will be forcing Cameron Dowds, I'm sure, wide. Coming out now through the loop at turn number 4. Now in towards Aintree at turn number 5. They're still side by side. The Scotsman, Flying Scotsman 2.0 against the Austrian, trying to make it look like dynamite to the inside line. The Austrian and the Scotsman side by side now in towards Brooklands. There might be contact. There is a little bit of wheel banging, but Cameron Dowds, I think, is going to come out on top. He does indeed. Cameron Dowds through, and he's into third. Once a PSGL PCF1 podium setter, and now he's into P3 in the British Grand Prix in season 35 of PSF1.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a brilliant overtake there from Cameron Downs. Really biding the time, but holding it around the outside there through pretty much the entire sector one. Such a difficult thing to do. So absolutely, props to Cameron Downs. A well-deserved overtake. Probably already thinking about the top two as well. Thinking, can I get these guys? Because the pace he's got in the early stages of this race is really blistering. This is very amazing pace from Cameron Downs. A lot better pace than the likes of those around him, and certainly going to be thinking about that top two fight. And don't think anyone else is really going to be able to have much of a response.
Gil does have a response though on the inside of Francesco. Lovely move. Francesco actually backed off that, and to be fair, if I had a Ferrari up my inside, I think I would have backed off in that situation as well. Gil there and 8 on the back of my back. He could be very much a sitting duck, actually, my back. Urpek though on the inside line. Now on Bolakonga, and that's late on the brakes from the Brazilian. Now looking to the outside line goes Urpek. Tries to get the job done. I don't think he is Brazilian. In fact, that's actually Tales. I think he's Dutch, if I'm not mistaken, as Urpek. He's there in safe on the back of Bolakongan. Cameron Dowds now, though, looking on the back of Yaron. And Yaron is looking on the back of Aurelian. Switches to the inside line in towards Brooklands. Gets the job done. So Yaron leading the way. Aurelian there in second. Cameron Dowds in third. And Urpek in the end, losing that position to Bolakongan. He's there in fifth. Urpek remaining sixth. Mubarak there in 7th, but GL, the former PSGL champion in season 26, is on the move here, on the back of Mubarak. Jono Otmir won, by the way, in his season that he won the championship. Jono Otmir won around here, so I'm just throwing it out there. Gil there in 8th, on the back of Mubarak, but now the top 3 really beginning to get spicy.
Yeah, Cameron Downs, he nearly managed to get the switch back down the old pit straight. It was very interesting to see. He nearly managed to get up alongside Aurelian to the point where Aurelian couldn't, defend it. But these two up in front, you got to think they race for the same team. They've probably got that same engineer, They've got a lot of things that are going in their favour because they can work together here. They've got an advantage that Cameron Downs doesn't have, They're racing for the same team, in the game and in real life. So these guys, they're going to work together. They're not going to think about letting Cameron Downs through it, and they're going to do everything in their power to stop it.
Yeah, F7R, by the way, going to hunt me down, I think, after saying that Urpek is Dutch. He's actually Italian. Which is why. And he's actually getting overtaken by Mubarak on the inside line. In towards Aintree corner we go. Aintree, of course, being the former host of the Grand Prix back in the 1980s. Aintree now famous to the Grand National in the horse racings. Tim looks now to the outside line on the back of Yossi. Yossi diving it to the inside line there around the outside. He now goes in toward Lovefield. Yaron there leading the way. Aurelian in second. Cameron Dowds in third. Barely an hair's breadth between Yossi and Tim. Mediums coming into play compared to Tim on those softs. Yossi through and he's in for 11th. The Swiss chocolatier, as I've called him in the past around here, he's there in 11th. But Yaron there leading the way. Aurelian in second. Cameron Dowds in third. And at this stage of the race, lap 5 out of 26, unlike the commentators' cup Byron, where everyone was strung out, these guys at least know what they're doing, and at least they're actually holding sway. As Aurelian now looks to the back of Yaron for the race lead, surely to the inside line, in towards Stowe, and Aurelian, the championship leader, retakes the race lead off the back of Yaron. Cameron Dowd sitting pretty there in third.
Yeah, it's been a very good few opening laps for quite a few drivers. There's certainly a lot of people who I think are going to be looking in this race just conserving what they've already got and thinking about the long game in this race. There's no point trying to go for the risky overtakes now. You've still got 20 laps to go. And a lot of these drivers, they're fighting like the race is over in the next lap. And if they keep fighting like they are, their race could be over in the next lap. And it certainly could boil over. And these drivers have kind of almost got to settle down into a rhythm and just see where it goes.
Yeah, and speaking of settling into rhythm as well, Bolakonga now getting into the rhythm on the back. Wiener, Francesco and Yossi side by side. Yossi easily to the inside line. Swissman is cooking from him being there down in P10. He was up there and Vanguard in qualifying actually. Was in the top 4. Has a good slide coming out of Luffield as well. Now sets aside some GL. GL's got 63% of ERS. If you're brand new to Formula 1 and you're not really sure what ERS and DRS and all of these anagrams are, then I can tell you, Yossi, coming into Maggots and Beckett, DRS is basically gains you 20 mile an hour extra speed down the straight, as will be shown, I am sure, hopefully, by one of the leaders, as Yaron is on the back of Aurelian, but he's not going to get the job done. But he is gaining that extra speed. You can see him gaining that extra speed. In terms of the ERS, 92%. That percentage that you see in the middle of your screen, that is the amount of battery that the car has got in terms of energy recovery. So now coming in towards Vale and Club, now it's up to 97%. Basically, as you brake into a corner, you recover some of that energy. When you come out of a corner, you waste some of that energy away. Basically, bread and butter, simple as. You're on the back there of a rally in for the race lead. Cameron Dowds in third, Wiener fourth, Wollongong in fifth, Mubarak there in sixth. Mubarak, though, to be fair, he's on that Williams, on that sort of hard compounded tyres. These softs are going to begin to start to go off the cliff, Byron. And Mubarak there in sixth, he's right there, thereabouts. And if he gets a good undercut later on in this race, Mubarak is certainly going to be one to watch out for later on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at kind of where he is compared to those around him, you know, the medium tyre runners, you know, they're 9th and 10th at the highest end, and you got Markados who's in 13th, you know, and that's very interesting because it shows that Mubarak has great pace on these hard tyres and is managing to keep with those soft tyre drivers around him. And that's really difficult. That's really impressive from him. So certainly one of the drivers to keep an eye out. Certainly his strategy will be a contributing factor as to whether he has a chance at the win today. But certainly, definitely up there for me at the minute in terms of, you know, his pace on those hards versus the softs.
And Red Bull swapping for the race lead as well. Your own there getting the job done on a rally. And once again, they're just playing a bit of tic-tac-toe right now. Or a fast game of poker, however you might like to call it. You're all leading the way. From Aurelian in second, Cameron Dowds there in third. Now looking on the back, everyone, by the way, there is not a single car outside of 5/10 of a second right now. Maybe apart from Markados further down the field, but nobody is outside of 5/10 of a second. Everyone was in a DRS train, and the DRS train is in full choo-choo mode here in Silverstone. You're on there leading the way, Aurelian there in second, Cameron Dowds there in third, lap 8 out of 26. Everything will begin to cook in the second half of the race, as did Byron with the Sim Racing Centre deal a little bit earlier on. But Aurelian on the back of your own, looking to try and get the job done. Not going to be there or thereabouts. Now coming through the right-hander of Luffield once again, where famously Jess Paul once stood on the national pit straight when she was doing Formula Student around here in September. Your own there leading the way, Aurelian in second, Cameron Dowds there in third, and Jess, by the way, also showing us on Twitter her setup right now and watching us on the hotel TV. So again, welcome to everyone that is maybe just getting an all by our two voices.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Hello from wherever you are watching. I mean, we're on lap number 8 of 26 in this race. You know, it's one of these, it's a bit of a battle of attrition, you know, and it is built around a former war airbase, so it would certainly make a lot of sense if there was the air of war around these drivers, and certainly there's a war in terms of the championship that still rages on once again for, you know, this round and possibly into the next, but it really is anyone's game as to what round, you know, with this championship ends. It could end today, it could end next week, you know. Who knows? It might end, you know, next year for all we know at this rate, given how fast and how close these drivers are. It wouldn't surprise me if they just kept on racing for years and years to come. I mean, Cameron Dowds, his pace seems to have fallen off a little bit versus those around him. But I mean, you know, if we're looking, these softs are becoming a bit secondhand now. You're going to be coming in within the next couple of laps, really. We only saw them go for about 12, 13 laps maximum, really, in when PCF1 took to the track just 5 days ago. And I certainly don't expect these drivers to be taking them much longer than that if they even try, because these are going to be cooking. They're going to be feeling secondhand, and the pace drop off.
Sorry to cut you off, GL to the inside line on the back of Erpek. That was a bit of a hesitant because I didn't want to interfere with your commentary there, but GL is through and he's into 7th on the back of Erpek, gets him done, and now Erpek is now under pressure from F7R Stefano and F7R Yossi in behind as well. The split potentially going to come in terms of the DRS train, but everyone now just sitting in a bit of a line of stone formation, apart from Markados looking to the inside line there on the back of Tim. You were mentioning there, first pit stops are happening now. First pit stops are in. Jeroen is into the pit lane. I think also Erpek is in, as well as Francesco. So them are the first 3 in. I would have actually said around about lap 12, to be honest, for a set of softs, onto a set of hard compounded tyres, maybe even to a set of mediums to the end of the race. but it looks like Jeroen into the pit lane, biting that bullet early, going for that undercut, medium compound tyres on, and now the Red Bull's certainly going to be trying to get an undercut that is sometimes worth around 4 seconds around this track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the undercut is very powerful, but these drivers, they've got to think about how long they're taking these tyres. The softs, they will last, but come the end of the race, they're going to be feeling very secondhand, you know, just as those softs were. And these drivers, it's a very fine balance to be struck. Do you go for the undercut? Do you go for the audacious strategy, knowing your pace is going to be much weaker at the end of the race? We saw Jake Benham do that in PCF1. He was on the medium compounded tyres, but when the softer tyres from the drivers, in front, behind, really began to fall off, that was when he came into a very nice pace and was able to then win the race. And that's certainly, what these drivers might be thinking. They might be thinking, we'll box earlier, but on a harder compound, and try and go that little bit, longer into this race, and know we'll get the advantage now as we get another hesitant. And that's because Aurelian goes to that one with Cameron Dowds as they come into the pit lane, and I think Cameron Dowds is going to be liking that one because he's getting an extra few meters and he knows he's going to keep that place, as they filter out the pit lane.
Cameron Dowd, ever the shrewd. He's only 14, by the way, and this kid is going to be special when he gets to F1 Esports, but he has just cooked a rally in there, coming in towards Stowe, and then put him out wide, said, you know what, nah, you're not getting the lead coming into the pit lane, I'm going to jump ahead of you, and Cameron Dowd has done exactly that. Into set of medium compound tyres, he will go. Where is Jeroen in all of this? Jeroen is coming through the Vale chicane in towards Club Corner right about now, so Cameron Dowd, I think it's going to be comfortably ahead. I think Jeroen is going to filter out potentially between Volokongan, Aurelian and Gilles, sort of around that sort of area. There is Jeroen actually just coming through turn number 1. There is Cameron Dowd, and Jeroen is actually ahead of him. Jeroen is ahead of Cameron Dowd. Undercut is everything around this track. There's Aurelian and Urpek going side by side as well as they're going to come through into the loop at turn number 4. Now Aurelian on the back of these guys as well. Aurelian on the back of Urpek, looking to try and get back in that DRS train. Looking to try and get the move done on Urpek. These two have had a battle around here before, and Aurelian now with heart on his sleeve and swords now to be shielded. Aurelian on the outside line, trying to get the job done on the back of Lovefield, and now gets the job done coming through Lovefield. 14th position is his. Urpek will not give this up without a fight, but Aurelian has got more ERS to dispose of, and he's still within that DRS train, which is very fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest gainer out of here, I think, has got to be Cameron Dowd. He really closed up to the back of Jeroen during that first DRS straight as well, after Jeroen made a bit of a mistake, so kept within that DRS range as a result. I think if Jeroen hadn't made that mistake with those warmer tyres, Cameron might have fallen out of DRS range, so he's probably gained quite a lot in terms of the fact that he's managed to warm those tyres up, not lose DRS, and he is going to be much quicker because you've got to think, although one extra lap, it doesn't sound like that much of a difference. It is in the grand scheme of things. These drivers, that one lap, it's 4% on their tyres, and that could be the difference between winning and losing, and it very often is. So I'm very interested to see Cameron Dowd, because I think he's probably arguably one of the drivers in the best positions, I think, other than Mobarak, who obviously is on that alternate strategy, probably should be going to the soft tyres to finish this race and could be blistering.
I think Mubarak actually will probably go mediums, and I think he'll come in this lap, I think, maybe just to try and cut off the overcut that is probably going to be happening later on in the race, or the undercut, I should say, later on in the race, as Volokongan is getting the move done on GL. GL runs out wide there. GL might look to the inside line in towards Lovefield. GL can't find the way through, though, on the back of Volokongan. Not the first time we've seen a Mercedes and a Ferrari go side by side through that part of the track either. Mubarak, though, leading the way from Stefano in second. Yossi there in third. Is Mubarak going to listen to me and come in the pit lane? No, he's going to listen to Byron instead and possibly go for a set of soft compounded tyres, which is not a bad strategy around here, but you're going to forfeit so much ground. It's going to be quite impossible to try and get the moves done later on in the race. The further you are far back here in Britain, the less likely it was. Keki has a huge mistake there. Coming out of Club Corner, just right on board with him and Tom in that battle for 6th. Just nearly having a Cole Brown moment. You roll on the back of Cameron Dowd once again. He's now overtaken him, in fact. So Cameron Dowd now is in the net lead of this race. And as it stands right now, Byron, Cameron Dowd, if he is in the net lead of this race, is doing enough to take it to the final round of the championship, with Aurelian there in 11th, or what would be a net 3rd position. it would be a 6-point swing to Cameron Dodge, and I make it quite literally now 9 points, I think it would be, between Cameron Dodge and the Rallion, as it stands before these guys, of course, in the top 7 come in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's still a lot of time to go in this race. We're only just halfway through, which is quite crazy, given how much action there has been up to this point in the race.
Oh my God, straight wide! Somebody cut you off again. Volakongan and Francesco are side by side, and now Erpek is under pressure from Volakongan. They're side by side now coming through left field. Volakongan just about hanging sway, or catches the left side end plate slightly of the Alpine, and now GLG's going to come out of nowhere. The 2x2 Noah's Ark as they come in towards Cop's corner. Gil around the outside. The old master outdoes F7 now. Francesco, he's not even there. GL through, and he's into 13th. Mubarak gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. He's into the pit lane. I don't think anybody else is out of that top 6. Tom and Keki are going past him as well. But GL, ever the old master, gets the job done around the outside of Francesco, and now Volakongan paying holiness to GL and beyond, because he tries to get him on round the outside of Stowe, doesn't quite get the job done. Volakongan still to the inside line. GL though is going to be sitting waiting, thinking, you know what, through goes Hamilton moment, and here we go to the inside line into the final corner of Club. GL and Erpek, now they're 3 wide in towards Abbey. The cameras are absolutely shocking, but GL managing to get the move done. Bit of hand of rage in there. Volakongan and Erpek are side by side. They're 3 wide in towards Village at turn 3. Erpek now to the inside on at turn 4. This is a great series of corners, great series of battling, and GL, ever the old master, the former PSGL, PSF1 champion, gets out on top. Brilliant racing between all 3 of them.
Absolutely brilliant racing from everyone involved there. What a performance these drivers are putting in, and what a spectacle they are giving us. I mean, Jerome and Cameron Downs, they're still battling as well out in front. So much going on, so much action. It really is, as I said, anyone's game as to what happens. I mean, Marcados obviously did come in, and so did Mubarak, went in for those mediums. So did follow in your footsteps just a little bit later than we maybe anticipated. Well, at least you anticipated. I think someone's going to go for that gamble, though. I think someone's going to go for those softs, because they are very fast up until about lap 9 or 10. That's when they really begin to hurt and fall off. And if you're on the hards, you can comfortably take it. But Cameron Dowds and Jerome, they're still battling. And Cameron Dowds, he's managing to hold this race lead for now. He's got a full battery, by the way. He has burned none of his ERS, and neither has Jerome. So it's very interesting. These drivers, they're just playing a bit of a game of chicken, battling for the sake of it, knowing they've got plenty of ERS. They don't have to really worry about, if I make a mistake here, because you've got plenty of ERS to burn and really make up the time.
Yeah, definitely. And what tend to be, certainly around this track for me, anyways, the battery is so needed in the final 3 laps of this race, because if you've got any resemblance of weakness in terms of the battery, you are going to pay for it later on in this race, as Mubarak gets the job done on Tim. Now back within DRS range, and Mubarak's beginning to fly now. With that 5-second penalty overhanging him, the Swissman will be looking to try and get into this race if he can. Stefano on the back of Yossi, though, for the current race lead out on track. Ferrari overtaking the AlphaTauri. He's not even there as the AlphaTauri in terms of speed. Stefano through, and he's into the current race lead, and I think he'll be into the pit lane around about now, I would think. No, he's not. He's actually still staying out. Yossi staying out as well. Stefano, though, opting to come into the pit lane. He, I think, is going to be the first to come in for a set of soft compound tyres, and if that is the case, I think that's early.
Yeah, if this is for a set of softs, that is a little bit earlier than we'd expect. I think about lap 17, that's when it'll probably everyone who's out left. Maybe lap 18 at the very latest, but you really want to be sure you can get as much time out of them as possible. And I think this is maybe just 1 or 2 laps too early for Stefano, but we'll see how it goes. I do wonder where they're going to come out. I mean, certainly this train have been pulling each other along, so it's going to be right to the back for Stefano for now, and by quite a few seconds. There's quite a lot of time to make up, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here as we get another.
Oh my God, Mubarak!
Screen.
Oh, Mubarak to the inside line. That is absolutely marvellous. Francesco has just been done like chicken run, quite literally. He is through, and he's into 13th position. That was an absolute class switchback from Mubarak, the Swiss man. I know he's on fresher tyres, but it is always good to see some brilliant driving. Yes, he might be using up his battery, and now he's on the inside line of Urpek. Mubarak doesn't care who you are. He is absolutely scything his way through the field right now. The Swiss man, all those health problems definitely put on the back burner. He's there in 12th, and he's here to fight, and he's got that 5-second penalty, remember, overhanging him to the end of the race. But if he didn't have that 5-second penalty overhanging him, he could potentially still be in contention for the race win.
Absolutely. I mean, that 5-second time penalty is really going to hurt him. The rest of the field, by the way, coming into the pit lane now, clearly realizing they're losing a lot of time staying out on the track. And, well, certainly so. So Yossi is going to lead this train.
Sorry to cut you off. I'm on board with Tim on the back of Urpek. Urpek has been spun, I think, if that is correct. Tim has got out of the way, and I think he's got damage as well on that car. So unfortunate. Left side end plate damage, I think it is for Tim. It is indeed, I think, Urpek the one that got spun round. Urpek has somehow recovered that, and he's fighting with Francesco. I don't know how on earth that has happened. Camera angles are absolutely shocking in that, I apologise. But Francesco there in 8th, Urpek there in 9th. There's the split happened in terms of the DRS train as well. And everyone in behind bar him, because of that contact that was had with Tim, Yossi Stefano and the likes are going to be having an absolute field day because they're going to be catching very quickly indeed as Mubarak now goes right around the outside of Volokongan and Wiener. Brilliant move. How on earth does he pull 2 off for the price of 1? There has surely got to be a little bit of contact in there. If Mubarak has done any resemblance of that move and he's just done 2 drivers around the outside, he is absolutely cooking. Cooking is the Swiss man.
Yeah, well, he could be cooking up something great, and he could be cooking up something spicy indeed, but you've got to be wary of that battery. If you are Mubarak right now, that battery being below 10%, if you're new to the F1 game or don't, follow the F1 game all too much, you actually lose performance in your car below 10% of the race. So that is really going to hurt the race of the drivers who are pushing a lot, and sure, they're getting a lot of the tires, they're getting a lot of benefit, but they're losing pace, they're losing performance, and it is not working. For some drivers, Tim there coming into the pit lane and retiring, so a few drivers disappointed and thinking we could have got more out of this, but the split in that train, the contact between those drivers, it's really hurt some of them. I mean, looking at the likes of, certainly Tim, Markados, and the split in the train, it really has, hampered the chances of some of these drivers getting better than a top 8.
Yeah, and the top 7 currently, I think, have it between themselves right now. Mubarak's going to try and go around the outside of on GLGL, the old guard, trying to show the way and show the door and shove the door shut to Mubarak there. And Mubarak says, yeah, you know what, I may as well just save a little bit of ERS, and behind GLGL in 4th, doing a good job. Mubarak's though ERS usage is very, very key in this race. 13%, GLGL ahead of him, 65%. So may want the Frenchman just to get a little bit of a move on right now ahead of him. And Stefano and Yossi were side by side coming through. I think that was Cop's corner, and they've changed the positions for them. Mubarak now on the back though, on the back of GLGL. Is he going to go for the move very late in terms of the overtake mode? Looks to the outside line. Cameron Dowds looks to the inside line and gets the race lead. He will be taking this to the final round as it stands. Between 1st and 3rd, the points difference is 6 points as Mubarak now again looks to the inside line on the back of GLGL. Ever the old master, he's trying to find every opportunity to put the Ferrari quite literally under pressure. Now Volokongan in the mix, Wiener in the mix as well. Mubarak, I think, just for me, I think he's beginning to fight a little bit too aggressively. He's got the fresher tyres, I know that, but in terms of his ERS usage, he's got 11% of ERS. That is going to come back to bite him later on in this race, as well as that 5-second penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned, under 10%, you lose performance in your car, and that's really what some drivers, struggle with. You get that extra pace, but you lose time, overall in your race because you're under that 10% range and you want to stay above it, and you've got to manage that battery as much as possible. It is very difficult to manage the battery, and it's no surprise that some of these drivers do struggle quite a bit because you want to just get around as quickly as possible. That 5-second time penalty, though, is really going to hurt Mubarak here tonight. I think really had a chance at the win certainly have the pace for it. I mean, these mediums have just come alive on that car in the earlier stage of this race, and not, looking likely to have a good result, but those mediums have just worked on this car so well, and the other drivers of Cameron Dowds, Aurelian, Gill, and Volokongan, they've all looked like they're standing still.
And I'll tell you somebody else that's working, albeit on a set of soft compound tyres now. F7R Stefano is when he's into 8. On a set of soft compound tyres, 3-lap old set of softs as well. If he can drag any resemblance of this train in behind, because he's going to be pulling away quite literally ahead of the likes of Francesco Ryan, Yossi will be following him through. And speaking of following through, goes to the inside line at turn number 3 there at Village, now in toward the loop at turn number 4. The Aston Martin slams the door shut though on the Swiss man, but is he going to try and rustle up something whiskey coming through the left-hander of Aintree at turn number 5, now down the hill and towards Brooklands at turn number 6. The Swiss man will wait in behind for now. Somebody that is not waiting in behind though is OP Stefano around the outside of Urpec, and that is OP traction coming through there on that set of softs. Urpec still trying to find the car. The NLR man, of course, the former NLR man, now a part of F7R. He's there in 13th. Had a good result in F2 last season. Now in 13th position in F1. A bit of baptism of fire here, but he's doing a good job. Still within the points haul, especially when Mubarak's 5-second penalty comes into the mix there as well. Battle for the lead. Top 3. Your own leading. Cameron Dowd second. Aurelian in third. Can you believe it? We've got 6 laps to go in this, and it could be the best 6 laps of the season so far. Looking to the inside line, Cameron Dowds now on the back of your own, takes the race lead. They're just jockeying for position at this stage, but if I was a betting man, I'd be betting on Aurelian right now. He's there in third, on the back of your own, on the back of Cameron Dowds. He's in the box seat in the house, and Aurelian could potentially wrap up the championship. Cameron Dowds, one of his nearest rivals. Marquez is out of it. He's down in 17th, the nearest challenger to Aurelian coming into tonight. He's out of it. There's other drivers out of it as well as it stands. Volokongan there in 6th wouldn't be doing enough. So if Aurelian wins, Cameron Dowds finishes 3rd, I think Aurelian's won the title.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting. There's a lot of, obviously, things to go when we look at it. If we he's got to outscore Cameron Dowds by 4 points. And as things stand, they'd be tied, but they could possibly end next race tied. But when you look at the amount of race wins that they've got, that would, be the ultimate deciding factor in terms of who won the championship. As we look here right now, I do think Cameron Dowds is in a very good place, though. He has very high battery, whereas if you look at Aurelian, about half of the battery depleted. So there's a lot, that could happen more so for Cameron Dowds because he's got that extra battery to deploy. And given he's out in front, that just shows how good his race pace and straight line speed is, for the fact that he's been able to hold on to this without burning too much of his battery.
And judging by the closing speed as well from the guys on the set of softs, Yossi now is leading the pursuing train. 2.1 seconds the gap between Yossi and Wiener. These set of softs now are beginning to get into play. Yossi and Stefano are not entirely out of this either. They're on much fresher tyres compared to everyone. Barmer back, potentially. They'll be on probably the same wear towards the end of the race. But Volokongan and Wiener ahead. Definitely targets for Yossi and Stefano in their mind, as Tom has retired out of the race. Urpec is going to retire, I think, out of the race as well. They had a collision coming through Aintree corner at turn number 5. Just a bit of miscommunication, I think, from them both in the end. Marco is now up to 15th. Means we're not getting a VSC or a safety car from them retiring in the pits, of course. Cameron Dowds leads. Jeroen in 2nd. Aurelian there in 3rd. Jeroen Bussell there saying in the chat he's waiting for a balance strategy. I'm waiting for Wiener to go around the outside of Volokongan to the inside line now in toward Luffield. The McLaren and the Mercedes side by side like the old guard once again here in Formula 1. Wiener gets the job done on Volokongan. He's on a lap pressure tyres. He gets the job done easily. He's through and he's into 6th as GL looks to the outside on his fellow compadre and his fellow 2-time F1 Esports Challengers man in Aurelian, who can't find the way through. Red Bull against Ferrari, potentially for P3.
Yeah, we're getting towards the final closing laps, and this is when it gets really spicy and really close because everyone's fighting and scrapping away as much as possible, and anything really could happen for the few drivers, that are really in the hunt. I think those drivers on the softs, though, Yossi and Stefano, they just about managed to get into this train. So this is really going to spice things up a little bit because now you've got the softs trying to cut through like a hot knife through butter. where can they end up in this race? Can they displace the likes of Volokongan, Wiener, and Mubarak? This could be extra pain in the wounds, extra salt in those wounds for Mubarak, because now that 5-second time penalty means even more places. And as it stands, straight out of the points for you, Mubarak, because that penalty is going to throw you straight down.
Definitely going to be thrown straight down, as per the status quo fans out there. Mubarak on the back of GLG. That's terrible. If you're of a certain age and you got that one, well done. Unlike Byron sitting to the left-hand side of me, he is probably thinking, what are you going on about? Cameron Dowd's leading the way from your own in second, Aurelian there in third. Mubarak there on the back of GLG, still trying to find the way through. Marcos is now retired in the pit lane as well, so that is him done out of tonight's race, and that is him done in terms of the championship as it stands as well. And as it stands in terms of championship, Cameron Dowd is doing enough to take it to the final race of the season. Volokongan isn't at the minute. He's there in 7th. Francesco picking up a 3-second penalty. But now, all hell is about to break loose here at Silverstone. Jeroen on the back of Cameron Dowd. He's going to wait there for now. Not until, though, next lap around, everything will begin to kick off. As Wiener and Volokongan, it's already kicking off in behind because they're side by side once again. But as per Luffield 2 laps ago, now Wiener and Volokongan are side by side in towards Valen Club. Yossi in the mix as well. Yossi surely not going to get the inside line. Through goes Yossi to the inside line. Absolutely marvellous from Yossi, the Swiss man, rustling up the chocolate. He is Thurneys into 6th. Volokongan now fighting side by side with Wiener in this as well. Yossi Thurneys into 6th. That one was absolutely pitch perfect from the Swiss man. He's Thurneys into 6th. And I'm telling you now, Byron, he's not entirely out of this race win either.
Yeah, I noticed someone was going wide. I thought it was someone who we were trying to ride on board with, but no, it was Marcos as he was retiring on the side of the track because the AI drive for the pit lane and then decided to trundle around the track for about 20 seconds for no reason whatsoever. So I thought someone had gone wide, was about to jump in,
my God.
and then realised it was a false alarm. But Jeroen and Aurelian go to battle, go side by side, up through. Could they go side through Cobb's corner? It's not good when a Red Bull goes side by side through there, but that time, just about managing to keep looking nicely, but Aurelian really wants to get past Jeroen here because think about this battle, think about the championship permutations that we're going to see. My PC, something has turned off because now I can't see the game. There we go, now I'm back, and the battle continues as Yossi gets past Mubarak, Stefano gets past Wiener, and the battles continue once more, and those softs, they're going to start to fall off. But the pace is still there, and they are still hunting in this race.
Stefano's trying to make it 2 wide as well with Mubarak. They were about to make it 3 wide, I think, with Yossi in all of this as well. Wiener there on the fight with Volokongan. This is going to be an absolute humdinger of a final 2 laps of the race. Cameron Dowd's leads. Jeroen in 2nd. Aurelian there in 3rd. Aurelian there on the back, trying to fight for his championship. Remember, if he outscores Cameron Dowd finishes 3rd. Aurelian wins. Aurelian does enough to wrap up the championship as it stands. With Volokongan in 8th, he is out of it as it stands. Cameron Dowd's leading. Jeroen in 2nd. Aurelian there in 3rd. Popcorn reminder in the chat from Racing Kirby. I'm going to remind you as well, we've still got, 7.5 kilometres of this race left. And Cameron Dowd is barely hanging on. He's got 89% of ERS. That is going to be crucial. It is, like Martin Brundle once said, the critical corners of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen now. We're really getting to the point of we're going to go for the desperate dives. We're going to get those dodgy overtakes because these drivers want it. They've not raced 26 laps just to come out with a wooden spoon. They want the best result they can possibly get. And Aurelian wants this championship. He wants it this race. He doesn't want to take it to the final round. And that's exactly what he's going to be trying to do. But will his teammate just let him through? Will his teammate gift him the championship on a silver platter? We've seen that in the past in Formula 1. But will they fight for it? Will they battle for it? Will Jeroen make Aurelian fight for it? This is what we want to see. The final lap begins now. Cameron Dowd, anything could happen. He leads, though, as we go on to lap number 26. But that DRS, that extra power, that extra few 11 miles an hour that it might be, it is going to be ever more crucial. Cameron Dowd, though.
Gilles forces the move on Aurelian. Sorry to cut you off. Aurelian now not going to be taken at it's going to be taken to the final race because Gilles just sent one down the inside line in towards Village. Yossi now involved in this battle as well. They're side by side though in towards Brooklyn. Gilles and Aurelian, the two Frenchmen, side by side now as they come in towards Luffield, the Ferrari and the Red Bull. Nobody wants to go home with third position. Gilles and Aurelian, third and fourth. They will fight that until the death. Running down the old pit straight in towards Cop's corner for the final time. Cameron Dowd, I think, has done enough. He's got 41% of battery. Jeroen on 30%. But remember, that DRS is so potent down the straight. Jeroen could still have him down that straight. Cameron Dowd's now coming through Maggots and Beckett's for the final time. Looking very, very good at this stage. 4.5 tenths. I think he's done enough. I'm going to call it now. Cameron Dowd is going to win this race. Jeroen trying to now dice out of the slipstream, trying to find any resemblance of an overtake as Yossi looks the outside line there on the back of Aurelian, trying to get the job done. He is, but there goes Stefano on the outside line as well. Could be 3 wide in towards Valen Club. Cameron Dowd, though, through the final corner. He is an absolute machine. Cameron Dowd to the line wins. Jeroen in second, Gilles in third. There's contact further down. Stefano in the end has come out in fifth. Mubarak all the way down in the end in 14th. Yossi the one that didn't beneficiary from that at all. He is spun. He's down at the back of the field. Not sure what happened there. But Cameron Dowd.
Yossi got hit.
Yossi got hit, unfortunately. We'll come back to you in just a second, Byron. But it is Cameron Dowd who takes the win. Gilles gets driver of the day. Cameron Dowd, though, what a machine he is. He's still in the championship fight. Aurelian in the end finishing, I think, down in fourth. So Cameron Dowd takes this to the final race of the season. And this man was a PSF1 reserve at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not bad when you think about the fact you were a reserve at the start. You've certainly managed to keep the fight going. You certainly managed to keep the battle flowing and to take that to the final round. What a... I mean, Cameron Dowd, what a back, you know, to really stamp it and say, no, this isn't over yet. I wanna take it. I wanna try. And I mean, Aurelian, unlucky though to fall to fourth. I mean, was holding third for so long, was looking like there was a slim chance of being able to win it here. You know, to just get past Jeroen, his teammate. It would have meant you got the championship here, but it's to no avail because it goes to the final round.
It does go to the final round, and Cameron Dowd takes it to the final round. Brilliant race. Jeroen there in second, Gilles there in third, Aurelian fourth, Stefano there in fifth, Volokong in sixth, Wiener there in seventh, Keki in eighth, 19th up to 8th. Phenomenal drive from him. Ryan in 9th, Stefano there in 10th. Then Francesco, Ryder Elmer, back that 5-second penalty. Yossi getting hit there in 14th. Marco, Zerpek, Tim, Tom, and Kazizel all DNFing out of that race at various stages. We didn't have a VSC or a safety car either at Silverstone, which is very, very rare, especially for PSGL standards. But fantastic racing out on track, Byron. We are going to cut to the cameras around about now. I hope you can see the both of us. You can indeed, which is always good. But what a race that was. Fantastic ending to that race. And Cameron Dowd, as Jess has said, third win of the season, takes it to the final round of the championship.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what he would have wanted. You know, it's very difficult when you're a driver and you're on the back foot because you have that racer mentality. You want to be at the forefront. You want to be fighting for everything you can. And Cameron Dowd, you know, he was on that back foot. He had a difficult time of it, and it was looking a little uncertain. You know, was there a chance of that overtake? Was there a chance of winning the championship, you know, for Aurelian? And it just didn't quite come. You know, but, you know, he really fought for it, and all these drivers, they really had a difficult time for it.
Yeah, they did have a difficult time, but in the end, only one could win. Cameron Dowd is the man that takes the win out on top. Jeroen saying if you could start with me, then yes, in terms of interviews. I'm not sure if he has to go, but we might... Oh, he's got a pro club match in about 10 minutes, which is what you'd need to do after PSF1. We will get then the interviews sorted very soon. Indeed. Byron, I'm going to put you in charge of trying to drag people over if you can, because otherwise it'll cause my laptop to die.
That is fine. Who is it who needed to come in?
Cameron Dowd's in the waiting room, and Jeroen and Gilles should be joining as well.
All right, cool. Was Cameron the one who's got a pro clubs match?
No, that's Jeroen. I mean, you get the priorities right. They're all three of them apparently are in the race. No, Ronner's in there. Why is Ron in there? Don't want him in.
Right, we'll get Jerome in first because he's got the Pro Clubs match. Here we are. There we are, Jerome.
There we go. We'll speak to him before he's got his Pro Clubs match, of course. We will speak then to Yaron, who finished, of course, in P2. Phenomenal effort in the end. You just had a wild 14-year-old ahead of you in Cameron Dowd with more battery and just fresher tyres at the end. Talk us through that race, because in the end, P2 for you, I think, is an absolute phenomenal result.
Yeah, first of all, congrats to Cameron. He did very well. Yeah, it was quite a calm race, to be fair, just sitting in the DRS, how Britain goes. Yeah, I had to box lap 9 because of Aurelian being there as well, so that's a bit shit, but yeah, was good to have the battle for the win.
Yeah, definitely good to have the battle for that race win as well. And when I was coming to the final 3 laps of the race, I was thinking, you know what, Yaron's certainly got a chance. I put you as a potential one to watch out for. You qualified up there as well, very highly, finishing third, I think, in qualifying. Did that bring you some resemblance of good luck going into this race? Because I said to Byron, literally in commentary as we started, you were strong around this track, and you proved that tonight.
Yeah, for me it's just a case of qualifying high because I have the race pace to compete for the win. But yeah, I'm just very bad in the qualifying normally. So when I have the chance to qualify high, I know I can fight for the win.
Yeah, you had me back in the commentary box this week, which I think is why it might have just brought you a little bit of good luck coming into this week.
Yeah.
As well. Byron, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
I mean, there's not many questions to ask other than, just kind of congratulating you because that was a difficult race. I think the circuit itself, it's not an easy one to learn. It's not exactly difficult, in terms of for beginners, but it's difficult to master. How do you approach it when you come to it? Obviously, there's a lot of drivers around you. Is it difficult to kind of consider everyone around you and think about how you approach different scenarios with so many people in such a small amount of space?
There's Ryan for me, my engineer, and he helps me during the race managing that, because if you have to do it all yourself while driving, it's gonna be difficult. So yeah, I had a good help today.
Yeah, definitely good job out on track as well. Apologies, I was coming across Byron again for about the 10th time. I think I've done that tonight. But congratulations, Jerome, on your P2. Go and enjoy your Pro Clubs match and go and enjoy your evening.
Thanks, man. Same to you.
Very welcome indeed. We shall drag in then the other two, Mr. Cameron Dowd and Mr. GL.
Yeah. Gio has just.
I think he's on PlayStation. That's why he couldn't join.
Oh, interesting.
But
here we go, Cameron Dowds.
We have got our man who finished in P1 for the 3rd time this season. Came up short, of course, last week in Miami. Well, no, I wasn't here. It is, of course, Mr. Cameron Dowd. And Cam, out on track, you were phenomenal. That battery usage as well, absolutely brilliant in the end. And I think that's what won you the race ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the lower wings helped a bit, I believe. But that would have helped.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we lost you there for a second.
No, I think that was just him ending.
Was it just him ending?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I think it cut off.
Oh, you didn't get? Did you get cut off?
Well, I'll just speak to the race. Well, qualifying, it was actually a really good lap, and then the final sector, I was 2 temps off in the final sector, so I had a really, really bad final sector. But in the race, I think the pace was quite good, and then especially I opted for lower wings, so then that helped with like defending against Euron and Oriellen, and also with the battery usage, I think lower wings helps retain more battery, and gain more battery, so that helped a bit. And then Yeah, I was expecting. I think quite. I was quite lucky with Guel at the end. He was fighting Ori Ellen, so it took a bit of pressure off me, and I was just able to push really, really hard on that last lap, and then I was able to. I think I had 20 or 10 or 20 more percent ERS than the two Red Bulls, so then I was able to just dump that, and then it was enough to just stay ahead.
Yeah, more than enough to stay ahead at the end of the day. And I think, as I say, that's what won you the race. That ultimate ERS management, I think, was certainly better than your rivals in behind and your own and GLGL. But in terms of that race, it got pretty hard towards the back end of the race there, especially with the Rallying and Geel having that fight for third and fourth. Were you thinking, you know what, if your own tries that, I could be in trouble here?
Yeah, I knew that if me and Jeroen started battling, then it would be Ori Ellen would definitely be there, and he'd be definitely trying to get me. So I was really trying to just keep a bit of a gap to Jeroen in the last 3 laps. That was always I realized with like 3 laps to go that it's probably best to just stay ahead because I didn't want to end up behind Jeroen and then Ori Ellen would be on my tail. So I just thought it was best to stay ahead, and then I just tried to use my ERS a little bit on the back straight towards Stowe every time to just stay ahead of your own and not battle, and it worked.
It definitely works, certainly to your advantage rather than your own and Geel and Aurelian's advantage as well. And by our calculations, before the steward reports and everything come in, you weren't involved in any incident, so I don't think it's going to affect you, certainly. I think it's 7 points between yourself and Aurelian going into the final round of the season in Bahrain. A, how do you think Bahrain is going to go? And B, are you going to be sitting here next week as PSGL PSF1 champion?
I like Bahrain, so you know, you've kind of got to think that you can get first, because if you go in with an attitude that you're not, then you're just kind of doubting your chances. So yeah, I reckon there's a good chance I could come out champion next week. I think that's 7 points, is it?
7 points, yeah.
Would I have to get first, and Ori Ellen would have to get third then?
No, you would have to get first, and Aurelian will have to get fourth, I think. So same as this week.
Well, I'm not gonna doubt it yet, but yeah, hopefully something good happens, and I'll just do my best and hope that something happens behind. But yeah.
Yeah, considering you were a PSGL F1 reserve at the beginning of the season as well, it is just leaps and bounds as to the talent that you have got, my friend, as well. And remember, you are only 14, so the world is your oyster in terms of sim racing. Cameron, I'm going to let you go. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yep, cheers.
Very welcome indeed. And Mr. Byron, would you mind dragging us to the waiting room so we can interview GLGL?
I'm just dragging up. Oh, yeah,
oh.
Of course. I didn't realize. Yeah, I completely forgot. We have to drag ourselves down there as opposed to him drag up because he's on concert.
Oh, God.
Who would have thought it'd be so different?
Yeah, we'll get that sorted. We will find a way. I'm absolutely sure. Well, there we go. I think we are now in the waiting room. We're going to do a sound check with GL. GL, are you here?
Do you hear me?
Oh, barely hear you. Hang on. Right, try that. Are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Ah, lovely. We can hear you perfectly loud and clear on the stream, which is always good. Congratulations, P3 out on track. I did call you the old guard quite a lot in that commentary as well, given the moves that you were making. But P3 out on track, you must be very happy considering where you qualified.
Yeah, that was unexpected one more time. I had a tough day, and I was very exhausted before the race. So instead of training, I slept like 2 hours. So I came in qualifying a little bit stoned, and I screwed up my last quali lap, so it was P15. And yeah, during the race, I managed to overtake a lot of people, and yeah, it's P3. So it's
Yeah, P3 out on track, and compared to you were fighting, of course, with Aurelian, who was the championship leader at the end of that race. Were you thinking You know what? I may as well try and get one over on him just to try and make it interesting for the championship.
To be honest, I raced for myself, and my overtake was good. And I was behind Orion for like 10 laps, maybe more. So I was waiting him to overtake the two in front. He didn't manage to overtake, so I tried to overtake him.
Impatience got the better of you, I think is probably the best thing to say. Because Aurelian, I know doubt him and Cameron were probably in the same party as each other, probably just trying to work each other out. And then all of that breaks loose, and then you have that battle with Aurelian and finish P3. And considering you were 15th on the grid, it's a phenomenal effort from you, definitely. Byron, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
I mean, not really. It's just another case of congratulations. Obviously, it's another good result for you. It's a good way to end off the season. Kind of, well, just begin to kind of end off that season. Kind of wind down for the season on a bit of a high. You know, going into this final race, what's the mindset like? Are you kind of going guns blazing? You know, there's nothing to lose. You know, everything to gain, sort of thing, or are you just kind of thinking round it out safely and see what comes beyond that?
First on this game, I just raced for fun. I didn't play a lot. I don't train a lot, so I'm coming to have fun on track. It's not very funny to start in front. So when I start P15, it's a change to me. And yeah, that was a funny race from my side.
Funny race from your side,
Very nice indeed.
Yeah, still a phenomenal effort, I've got to say. As I say, from P15, your second podium, I think, of the season as well, if I'm not mistaken, with Monza being the other podium that you've got. We could ignore the 10th place finish last week in Miami and the only other points scored this season. But you were right at the wrongs there, my friend Gilles. Go and enjoy your evening and go and enjoy that P3.
Thank you.
Very welcome indeed. And I think that is it for tonight in terms of the interviews. A big thank you to Gilles, big thank you to Cameron Dowd, and a big thank you as well to F7R Your Own, who I've totally forgotten, just completely caught my imagination there. Anyways, we are gonna, well, love you and leave you in just a second, but we're gonna preview more action to come, of course, in the coming weeks here on PSGL. As I say, next week, Bahrain, season finale, title decider. Myself and Jess are going to be taking you through that one for sure in Bahrain. We're going to be back with you, of course, next week at 8 p.m. UK time. F2 Championship already decided. Congratulations to Matteo on winning that championship. He's definitely setting his sights on F1 next season, that is for sure. Definitely going to be watching him with a really good eye on how he's going to cope as well in the big division. And then, of course, we've got also PSGL, PCF1 coming up. Goodness me, I'm all over the place. We have got WR coming up. That's me tomorrow. Canada, round 4, January 24th. It is the likes of Jono, Mia, Danny Beresnay, all former winners, of course, in Britain. Going to be taking you through there. Canada, George Morgan and Dan Field taking you through the action, of course, this season for PCF1. That is going to be interesting. And Byron, I'm going to come across to you because PCF1 has been phenomenal over the last 3-4 rounds or so. Canada this week, going to be interesting for the drivers and how they cope.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the luxury of speaking to a few of the drivers recently. I've had some good conversations with the likes of Otis Lawrence, Nicholas Longate, and Thomas Ronhoff, funnily enough, all about kind of, you know, and how it's gone so far. And there's a lot to be desired for some of these drivers. Some drivers on top form, others maybe seeking a little bit more. There's a lot up for grabs. I mean, I'm always the one sat behind doing the socials, and it's always great fun, you know, and then making the highlights afterwards. It's always a case of looking at everything that can and will happen. So I can't wait to have the action unfold in Canada. Made that thumbnail the other day, and it looks lovely as ever.
It does look lovely as ever, indeed. And, of course, rounds 5 to 12 are to be decided. So after the 31st of January, I think it is going to be a clear run through for the rest of the season, unless F1 Esports gets going. don't know what on earth is going on with that, to be honest. Let's just face it. No, Connor doesn't know. Luke Humphries doesn't know. Nobody knows what's going on with F1 Esports right now. But PCF1 is the place to be. Wednesday night, George Morgan and Dan Field taking you through the action, of course, on Wednesday night. And, of course, PC Tiers 2 to 5 are also going to be in Canada. They are going to be there on Thursday from 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time for various different streams as well. JGM and the likes are going to be taking through the action on that one. We have lost Byron's camera because we're in the waiting room, so unfortunately, we're going to put paid certainly to one of us in terms of the stream, but you can still see me, which is all good. But phenomenal racing out on track. Next week, title decider, Byron. Going to be interesting. Aurelian still out on top, 7 points between himself and Cameron Dowd. Both of them former teammates in Team Chazoo. Plenty to fight for between them both, personally and mentally.
Yeah, plenty to think about. Plenty of action yet to still unfold. The season, the title decider. The season might nearly be over, but there is that final race to go. There's still a lot that can happen in that final race, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to it as well, and it should be really interesting indeed in Bahrain. Underneath the floodlights, could we potentially get a little bit of rain as well, just to spice things up potentially? Who knows? But the best seat in the house is next week. This time, next week, we will have, hopefully, unless there's any illegal blocking penalties, a PSF1 champion crowned for season 35, the 35th champion, pretty much outdoing Big C, I think, in terms of his titles that he's had. I think he's a 7-time champion, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head.
He is indeed.
He is indeed. I'm glad I got that right, because that is just in my head rather than actually written down on paper. So well done on Big C for that. Somebody is going to come for those 7 titles one day. I'm absolutely guaranteed of it as well. But we're going to end off here. Big thank you to Mr. Byron Hale for joining me. Even though you can't see him, he's still here in the commentary box. Big thank you to you, Byron, for joining me. Final thoughts from you. Next week, going to be interesting. Bahrain, I'm looking forward to it. Where do everyone go in terms of socials and everything like that?
At Premier Sim GL pretty much everywhere except YouTube, but you're already watching here, so that's not relevant. Discord.com, there's an invite link on our website, and obviously make sure to go check out GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre, our brand new partner in the form of Sim Racing Centre. But check both of them out, use our codes, get a sweet little discount, and you're all good, and you've saved yourself a little bit of money in the process. But yeah, that's all the admin done. That's everything done, and it's time to just build up to that exciting finale.
And put it this way, there is going to be a lot of content coming next week. We're going to force you, we're going to feed you content going into next week's title finale in PSF1. I'm absolutely guaranteed of that. We're going to end off here. Thank you so much for watching and being part of our company for PSF1 tonight. I really hope that you do enjoy your evening. And until next week, Bahrain, 8 p.m. UK time. Do not miss it. We'll be there. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.